I'm not in the mood right now. Another random commented on my Instagram that you're on the Epstein list.
The Epstein list? Are we still talking about that?
South Park went straight for the jugular, turning Donald and Melania Trump into the stars of a gleefully outrageous roast that had world leaders showering him with gifts and absurd praise. Viewers watched the couple's animated doubles endure jokes about ego, power, and even their private life, and the real Trumps were reportedly livid. Social media lit up as clips spread faster than the show's own promo. After a night of viral laughter and presidential outrage, can a single cartoon really shake the world's most famous political duo this much? The episode's wildest scenes.
What the is this, better?
This is the painting you asked for, sir!
Why is my so small?
But that's the size it is in the photo!
The new South Park episode didn't just poke fun at Donald Trump. It built a full-on carnival of absurdity around him. From the moment the animated president entered the room, the scene turned into a parody of global flattery. Heads of state lined up with lavish gifts, each one more extravagant than the last, while repeating a single odd refrain, "You do not have a small penis." The joke landed because it kept escalating. First came a silver-plated space shuttle presented by a grinning Florida official, then a golden statue from a European delegate, and finally Apple's Tim Cook stepping forward with a sparkling glass sculpture perched on a 24-karat gold base. Every dignitary gushed about Trump's innovative ideas, before insisting again, louder each time, that he definitely did not suffer from any manhood issues. The writers exaggerated every reaction. Trump basked in the praise, nodding grandly as if each gift were proof of his greatness. The camera zoomed in on his satisfied smirk, while the crowd of world leaders applauded like trained seals. Tim Cook's moment was especially over the top. He handed over the crystal creation with a flourish worthy of a royal coronation, praising Trump's vision for the tech industry and repeating the running gag with deadpan sincerity. Viewers couldn't miss the clear reference to real-life moments when corporate leaders have publicly courted political favor with expensive gestures. By pushing the scene to ridiculous extremes, the show turned real headlines into a sparkling lampoon of ego and power. Then came the subplot that pushed the episode into pure South Park territory: Trump's animated alter ego lounging in bed with Satan. The sequence began with Trump excitedly showing off one of the gifts, suggesting they could shove it up Satan for fun. Satan, drawn with the show's classic mix of menace and dry humor, tried to break off the relationship in a whispered phone call, while Trump prattled on in the background. The conversation played like a twisted romantic comedy. Satan confided in a friend about needing an exit plan, while Trump, oblivious, bragged about his new trophy. The contrast between their tones, Trump's loud bravado and Satan's weary exasperation, turned the scene into a hilarious send-up of toxic relationships. Fans immediately recognized the double punch of satire. The over-the-top gift ceremony mocked the real-world spectacle of leaders showering powerful figures with praise and presents. The devilish bedroom scenes took it a step further, suggesting a bond between Trump and chaos itself, a relationship that even the Prince of Darkness wanted to escape. It was classic South Park, bold, outrageous, and sharply observant beneath the crude humor. By the time the credits rolled, the episode had delivered a barrage of jokes that felt both completely ridiculous and oddly revealing, leaving viewers laughing while shaking their heads at how close parody can come to truth. Mocking real-life moments.
Episode Wednesday included a scene showing President Trump lying in bed with Satan, who also had a previous relationship with Saddam Hussein on the show. On Thursday, a White House spokesperson issued a statement saying, quote,
South Park's writers didn't pull their outrageous ideas out of thin air. The episode's wild gift-giving scene, where world leaders flatter Donald Trump while presenting lavish presents, draws straight from headlines that once dominated the news cycle. By exaggerating these real events, the show created a parody that felt both hilarious and uncomfortably familiar. Take the over-the-top moment when an animated Tim Cook handed Trump a glittering glass sculpture set on a 24-karat gold base. That wasn't random. Earlier this year, Apple publicly announced a $100 billion investment in the United States, a move that earned praise from Trump during his presidency and gave the tech giant a chance to highlight its relationship with the White House. In the episode, Cook's character repeatedly tells Trump he does not have a small penis while presenting the extravagant gift. The joke wasn't just crude humor, it pointed to the real dance between corporate leaders and political power, where praise and pricey tokens often serve as subtle bargaining chips.
For more than 20 years, going on to say the show is hanging on by a thread by uninspired ideas in an attempt for attention. The show's parent company, Paramount, has not issued a response.
The writers also slipped in a sharp reference to Qatar's gift of a Boeing jet to be used as Air Force One. In reality, the Qatari government has made large purchases of Boeing aircraft for years, deals that were celebrated by U.S. officials as symbols of economic partnership. South Park turned that fact into a spectacle, showing a fictional Middle Eastern dignitary bowing and presenting a gleaming jet while parroting the same awkward line about Trump's masculinity. The absurdity of the repeated compliment highlighted how real-world diplomacy can sometimes look like a carefully staged performance of flattery. These exaggerated moments worked because they stayed tethered to reality. Viewers who follow politics and business could spot the parallels immediately, recognizing the sly nod to actual meetings where executives and foreign leaders showered Trump with praise. The writers used humor to underline how these events often blur the line between genuine respect and calculated favor-seeking. Instead of dry commentary, they chose over-the-top comedy to show how easily political power attracts grand gestures. What made the satire sting even more was how close it came to everyday politics. Corporations do court presidents with high-profile investments. International partners do offer gifts that carry political weight. By turning those gestures into a farce of constant compliments about Trump's manhood, the episode highlighted the transactional nature of such exchanges without ever delivering a lecture. It left audiences laughing, but also thinking about how influence is built behind the scenes. Melania's awkward cameo. South Park's latest episode didn't forget about the former First Lady. In fact, Melania Trump's animated appearance became one of the most talked about parts of the show, adding a quieter layer of satire to an otherwise loud and outrageous storyline. While the world leaders showered Trump with absurd gifts and endless compliments, the camera repeatedly cut to Melania, her animated face locked in a perfectly sculpted but unmistakably strained smile.
Last night, the first episode of South Park's 27th season aired. And the thing about South Park is that their episodes are produced in advance, but only like a week in advance.
The writers played with her well-known public image, elegant yet often reserved, by giving her almost no dialogue and letting her expressions do the work. Each time a dignitary delivered another overblown compliment about Trump's great ideas and his supposed physical attributes, Melania's eyes narrowed just enough to suggest disbelief. One quick shot showed her barely suppressing an eye roll as Tim Cook presented the glittering glass sculpture. It was subtle but sharp, a silent commentary on the awkward role she often occupies beside her husband in real life. Her most telling moment came when the fictional Emir of Qatar offered a miniature gold-plated jet while repeating the now-famous line about Trump's masculinity. The animated Melania clapped politely, but turned her head slightly, as if checking to see whether anyone else found the scene as ridiculous as she did. That tiny movement drew laughter from viewers because it captured what many imagined she might actually feel in similar public situations, supportive on the surface, quietly skeptical underneath. South Park amplified the humor by scripting a few dry one-liners just for her. At one point, after yet another leader proclaimed that Trump definitely does not have a small penis, Melania murmured, "Yes, we have heard," in a flat voice that landed like a perfectly timed punchline. The audience reaction to that single line on social media was immediate, with clips of her deadpan delivery spreading across X and TikTok within hours. Fans praised the show for turning a brief cameo into one of the episode's sharpest jokes. The portrayal worked because it tapped into the public's fascination with Melania's real-life demeanor. Over the years, her cool, often unreadable expressions have fueled endless speculation about what she thinks during her husband's most theatrical moments. By exaggerating that mystique in animated form, the episode invited viewers to read between the lines. Was the cartoon Melania embarrassed, bored, or just expertly hiding her amusement? The ambiguity made the satire even richer. Trump's reported fury.
Hey, Satan.
I'm not in the mood right now. Another random commented on my Instagram that you're on the Epstein list.
The Epstein list? Are we still talking about that?
According to multiple entertainment blogs and political gossip columns, Donald Trump did not take the South Park parody lightly. Within hours of the episode airing, his social media feed exploded with capital letters and exclamation points, the kind of posts that signal he's both amused and furious. Screenshots captured him calling the show totally irrelevant and desperate for attention, while insisting that the jokes were proof the creators had run out of ideas years ago. Even without an official statement from his office, the tone of those late-night posts left little doubt that he was seething. People close to the former president, speaking to reporters on Background, claimed the reaction behind the scenes was even more intense. They described a night of pacing and phone calls, with Trump replaying clips of the episode and mocking the animation as cheap and pathetic. At one point, he reportedly told a confidant that South Park was lucky to have my name to keep them alive, a line that soon made its way into headlines. Insiders said he felt the writers had crossed a line by dragging Melania into the gag, portraying her with knowing looks and barely disguised annoyance. Supporters quickly joined the chorus, echoing Trump's claim that the show was using him to stay relevant. Conservative commentators framed the episode as proof that mainstream comedy has an obsession with mocking him, while others said the whole thing was free advertising for a show they considered past its prime. Right-leaning podcasts replayed his posts word for word, treating them as evidence that South Park had taken an easy shot at someone they knew would react loudly. Media critics, meanwhile, noted that his outrage accomplished exactly what the show's creators likely expected. It drew even more attention to the episode. By dismissing South Park as irrelevant, Trump inadvertently gave it fresh relevance, sparking headlines and driving a spike in streaming numbers. Entertainment journalists pointed out that this dynamic, Trump railing against a piece of pop culture only to amplify its reach, has played out before, from late-night monologues to celebrity roasts. For fans of the series, the uproar was almost as entertaining as the episode itself. Social media lit up with memes quoting his posts alongside stills from the show, turning his complaints into punchlines of their own. Commenters joked that the fastest way to guarantee a South Park ratings boost was to get Trump mad, and by morning the episode was trending in multiple countries. Whether Trump's frustration was calculated or genuine, the effect was the same. The parody gained a second life as a cultural flashpoint. By morning, news outlets from political blogs to entertainment sites were dissecting his reaction, proving that even when he tries to brush off a joke, Donald Trump remains a central character in the story. The more he dismissed the show as desperate, the more the spotlight stayed firmly on him. Exactly the kind of twist that South Park's creators have been satirizing for decades. White House and family silence.
The town has to produce pro-Trump TV ads. And, well, viewer discretion is advised.
While Donald Trump's own social media accounts roared with angry posts after the South Park episode aired, the official response from those closest to him was strikingly quiet. Reporters sent repeated requests for comment to the former president's team and to Melania Trump's representatives, but the messages were met with silence. No press releases, no quick television hits, nothing to confirm or deny the stories about the couple's private reaction. For a family known for turning almost every headline into an opportunity to talk, the hush itself became news. That silence stood out even more because of what happened only a month earlier. When the season 27 premiere of South Park poked fun at Trump, a White House spokesperson at the time dismissed the show as uninspired and desperate for attention. That statement circulated widely, giving late-night comedians and political commentators something to chew on for days. This time, however, the follow-up episode went even further with its jokes. Yet there was no official word. Observers wondered whether the family had decided that engaging again would only feed the publicity cycle. Political analysts speculated about the strategy behind the quiet. Some suggested that the former First Family recognized how public outrage can amplify a story they would rather fade away. Others thought the episode's more personal humor, particularly the animated portrayal of Melania, might have made it harder to craft a dignified response. Without a clear narrative to push, remaining silent could be the best way to avoid giving the satire an even bigger audience. Media outlets filled the gap with their own interpretations. Cable news panels debated whether the lack of comment signaled embarrassment or a deliberate shift in media tactics. Columnists pointed out that Trump's supporters had plenty to say on his behalf, flooding social platforms with criticism of the show and defending the family's honor. But the people actually targeted by the parody stayed off camera and off script, leaving the public to wonder what they were really thinking. So, what are your thoughts on this? Let us know in the comments below.